Welcome into the In the Money podcast for Wednesday, October 24th. Final 4 days of the fall meet at Keeneland. I'm Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman. As there's no stakes race on the Wednesday card, so we'll just jump into the late pick 4 on our podcast. And it starts in the 5th race, non-winners of 2 claiming event at 1 mile and an 1/8 for 3-year-olds and up. How'd you see this one, Jim?
Well, I saw this one as an open race. I'm going to go 4 deep in the pick 4, and my upset pick here, I don't know that he's good enough to win, but there is really no speed in this race other than the 3 Raindrop Kid. And Declan Cannon has won 3 races this meet. He's won on a couple of long shots. This horse may go off 25 or 30 to 1, and I think the horse has a real shot. He's only run at Belterra Park, which is a big move up in class here, even though this is a $20,000 claimer. But he comes off a maiden win. I just think he's got more speed than anybody else in here. There's really not any speed in here. 1 mile and an 1/8 hadn't been that far before, but you never know. So I'm going to take a flyer here on Raindrop Kid. The other 3 horses I'm going to use are more reasonable. Gettysburg, the 5 horse, came off a really bad race at Churchill Downs where he just folded his 10 after a half mile. They give him a little bit of time off here and drop him to 20,000, but that doesn't mean Chris Hartman's really crazy about him. So he claims for 40, puts him for 20. That's not really a ringing endorsement. Halite for Ben Colebrook, who's won a couple races here, and his barn is going well. They dropped this one in for 20,000 after a race over the track, which is really important. And then Naples Trader, the 8 for Doug Anderson, Ty Kennedy, won first out at the maiden claimer of 10,000. By four lengths almost, and they move him right up to 20,000. So I think that those 4, I think I'm covered well in the pick 4. If Raindrop Kid wins, I'm really covered. So probably my win pick would be Colebrook's horse, Halite, the 6.
I started to go to that one. I ended up switching over to the 2, Daringly Bold. Big buyer jump last time and got a bad post in that race and still ran really well. Takes another drop in class. And Helen Pitts, it's her first starter at the meet, and she's 27% turf to dirt. So I'm going to take a little shot here with Daringly Bold. Halite's the second choice for me with that good race over the track. I think the track was playing more to speed then, and he was trying to close a little bit. 139 from outside the 11 holes, working well, and had back in the McPeak barn and had some good races for that barn last year. Naples Trader just was such an easy winner in the debut. I'm going to throw him in as well. And then Blowing Smoke, the 1. I could go even deeper with ones that you mentioned. So I'm going to stop there to keep the ticket affordable. But a moderate win pick for Daringly Bold, the 2 in the 5th. 6th race, I have a stronger opinion on this allowance test. Number 4, Sippin' Kitten, looks awfully good to me. One here at this distance in the spring. Maker's 20% second off the layoff, and this horse is dropping out of a stakes race at Kentucky Downs for the Ramsey Stables. So that one looks awfully good. Overthinking came out of the same race, but 2 back, ran an 88 buyer at Del Mar, and then ran here once in April and beat half the field, and that was a really good field. Toinette came back to win a stake on the Derby weekend out of that race. So I think that horse at a little bit of a price could be in the money. The 7, Tammet, I'm going to use in a pick 4 ticket as well for the Norm Cassie barn, and has won on this turf course. How about you?
I like Sippin' Kitten, but I don't like her that well. I thought, her running style may not suit this turf course as well as it did Kentucky Downs, and she was 21 to 1 down there. Didn't get any money, but ran well in the stakes race. You make a very good point. But I'm also going to use Callio, the 1 horse for Brendan Walsh, coming out of a win at Kentucky Downs in a maiden special weight. So she ran really well there. Coming back facing winners might be a too tall an order, but I think she's got a shot. Tammet, the 7 horse for Norm Cassie, and Le Peru. Le Peru's riding really well on this turf course. Got 10 wins already at the meet. The 9 horse Rahway for Mike Maker looks like she fits coming out of the Sippin' Kitten race. And then the 10 horse Blossom Trail Miss that you didn't mention for Neil Drysdale shipping here, shipped in for Kentucky Downs, didn't get the job done there, and he brings her up here, and I think she's got a shot as well. So we'll go fairly deep in the pick 4 here. Sippin' Kitten would be my win pick, but I'm not as strong about it as you are.
Let's go to the 7th race, and this is non-winners of 3 allowance. Small field, but I thought a well-matched group. Where did you go?
I went with Majestic Affair, the 2. I really couldn't separate the 3 horses that are going to get all the money. I think Majestic Affair for Brad Cox, coming off that Ellis win, and Brad goes to his go-to rider here in Bridge Mahan, has a win over the track and 9 wins lifetime out of 20. That's very impressive. So dropping out of that stakes race at Ellis Park to an $80,000 claimer, I think Majestic Affair has a real shot. Holiday Stone, the 1, and 8 Town, the 1A, both have a shot for Georgia Weaver and Brian Lynch. And then the 6-horse Hot Shot Kid was probably my next choice. I can also make a case for the 5 in here, Ballandine for Chris Hartman, coming off an easy win at Churchill. But I like Hot Shot Kid off the opening weekend trip over the track. So I would go 3 deep in here with the 1, 2, 6 with Majestic Affair being my win pick.
I like Ballandine a lot in here off that race last time at Churchill. I remember hearing an interview with Chris Hartman when this horse was going to make his first start in a radio show, and he was really high on this horse. Never, I don't think, has materialized into that potential, but maybe woke up last time, 97 buyer. That was a big jump. And he puts Le Peru on the horse, and they have really good numbers together. And Hartman's 22% second off a short layoff, which is the angle for this horse here. Hot Shot Kid I used as well off the nice win here on opening weekend and cutting back from 2 turns. And then the George Weaver entry, I'm going to use both of those as well. I'm going to stop there, but I could go to the 2 horse as well. But I thought this also was just a well-matched group for a small field. 8th race, I think St. Denman in this maiden race, going a mile and a 16th on the turf. St. Denman looks awfully good off the DQ last time. Won and got DQ'd down at Kentucky Downs and came from an outside post. But I did try to beat him with Preacher Power. The Keneally barn's done really well. They get Le Peru in the saddle. His horse is working well for the first start off the layoff. Keneally's not got great numbers off the layoff, but they're okay. And you look at the races back in the winter. This horse showed really good form, was doing well, and I'm just looking for a little bit of a price here to try to beat St. Denman, I think. I threw in Solar Warming, too. First time gelding, first time LASIK, so that's a lot of changes, and caught a good field up at Saratoga. So I'm going to go add that one in the race, but actually I'm just going to use the 2 horses, 6 and 2, when I get to the pick 4 ticket. How about you?
Yeah, I thought the 2 was a good bet in here. St. Denman, I was watching Kentucky Downs that day, and he kind of wiped out the 10 horse coming on the start. I don't know if they DQ'd him because of the start or because of the stretch, but I think it was a stretch run. But he also moved inside of the 11 hole. So St. Denman's my win pick here. I used a 10 horse tearing it up. I was between the 6 and 10. Preacher Power worries me a little bit, that layoff since April, and I think that he might need one here. And I think Tearing It Up comes out of a good race at Belmont on a yielding turf course. He almost broke his maiden there. And he's run 3rd, 2nd, and 3rd last 3 times out at Saratoga, Monmouth, and Belmont. So Brian Lynch really needs to get him off the schneid, and Tearing It Up, I think, is my second choice here. So I'm going to just stick with those 2 horses, 2 and 10.
So what's your pick 4 ticket look like?
Pick 4 is $60. It's 3, 5, 6, 8 in the first leg. Raindrop Kid, Gettysburg, Halite, and Naples Trader. Then going deep in the second leg with a 1, 4, 7, 9, 10. That's Callio, the entry actually, Callio and Silver Shaker. 4, Sipping Kitten. The 7, Tammet. The 9, Rawway. And the 10, Blossom Trail Miss. Then going 3 deep in that 6-horse field in the 7th race with both parts of the entry, the 1, the 2, Majestic Affair, and the 6, Hot Shot Kid. And then sticking with 2 horses in the end with my 2-horse St. Denman, my top pick, and the 10, Tearing It Up, $60. If I was going to cut that in half, I would single St. Denman in the last. $60 is my ticket.
Yeah, I think that St. Denman looks awfully strong in there. I'm just going to try to take one shot to try to beat him in that race, but I think that's a good race to be thin in the multi races. I started out with 5 horses in the first leg, 1, 2, 6, 8, 11. If you want to go deeper, I'd certainly encourage it because I don't have a strong opinion there. 2, 4, 7 in the next leg, 1, 5, and 6 in the 7th, and then 2 and 6 in the last leg for a $45 ticket. We'll be back for the Thursday card right here on the In the Money podcast or KeenelandSelect.com.